I've been procrastinating. I don't know why. I think it's just to close off a chapter. This final piece of the puzzle feels so huge to reflect what I've been doing for the last almost a year. So I started end of October, beginning of November, and I finished beginning of September. I've been reflecting. I've been watching all of my videos. I mean, I could definitely dive deeper, or I could probably have another run of each video to kind of like also see the way I'm sharing everything, because at the end of the day, what this has transformed into is not only documenting for my own sake so that I can keep growing, always becoming better and better as a dancer, but also as a person with this time that I have on this earth. But at the same time, it is something I am sharing with not only myself, but with other people. I also then just want to improve the way I share things so that it can even become more accessible and hopefully more insightful. So I've been reflecting, I've been looking through all my videos. It can feel very overwhelming. Where do you start and how do you move on from this? So I'm literally just gonna take you through how I've done it. What I started with was asking myself again, what were my goals that I had from the beginning of this project? Goals that I started with were 4 goals. So we started on the top of the list was for me to practice for Summer Dance Forever 2023. My goal was to make it to the top 24, but the initial thing that started this off and why I set that as a goal was that every time that Summer Dance was around the corner or when I was at the event, it was always a feeling of, no, I don't feel ready for this event of this scale, of this level. That was my first goal. I wanted to train for preparation for Summer Dance and to then make it to top 24. My second goal that I had set for myself was that I've always been wanting a practice schedule. You know, a practice schedule, literally just how do I train from Monday to Sunday, or how does my practice look like from Monday to Sunday, including resting days and etc. Basically what it came down to was for me to have the habit of practicing, to be autonomous, to be very consistent with my practice. Because before that, I felt like training would happen sporadically, sometimes more, sometimes less. There was always this feeling of like, I need to get practice, and it was always so distant. I feel like I rarely practiced mindful. I didn't really have clear directions. I had goals, or like the goal of wanting to improve, but I didn't really know what steps I wanted to take or needed to take in order to get closer to these goals. So I felt like the goals were just there and I was just literally walking side to side instead of walking forward. Third on my list was, by the time I started this project, the idea of the Leviathan flow was present, mainly as the name and as something that I was calling my movement language. Suddenly I had an introduction to myself, an opportunity or doorway to just get to know myself more when it came to dance. So I wanted to figure out what Leviathan flow was to me, what I wanted to do with it, and yeah. And then the fourth and then the last on my list was that I mentioned that I wanted to do this being dancing forever. Build a foundation so I can do this for as long as I want. So those were my goals that I had set for myself. I feel like I pretty much can check off all of my goals except for passing to top 24. But as I mentioned, within the passing to top 24, it was the idea of feeling ready. Summer Dance 2023, I felt ready. I felt that I was ready if the moment was going to be given to me to represent myself within that competition. Creating a practice schedule, training schedule for myself, definitely. I feel so excited for this coming year. I've created a practice schedule for myself. Now is to continue improving it or continue developing it, but I've created one, so check. what is Leviathan Flow? In short, Leviathan Flow is, again, it's my movement language, but it's also what I started mentioning as my daily movement habits. That was how I started this whole project, with setting 4 habits, which turned out to later became 5, but to have habits that I would do consistently. My goal was to do it daily, only giving myself space to miss maximum 2 days in between doing them and not doing them. Waves, circular motions, and basically levels. What Leviathan Flow is, for me, is a freestyle practice. It's a way of me just becoming more in tune with my body. In other words, I'm trying to master my body, to just become free within freestyle. That, in short, is what Leviathan Flow looks like at the moment, and it's something that I'm very curious to see where I can go with this, because at the end of the day, the focus is me and my body. So hopefully it's something that I can share with people. I'm noticing a lot of benefits from it, so hopefully it'll have similar effect on other bodies. But figuring out what that is, I can check that off the list, and I can only go deeper. And the last of building a foundation for my practice so that I can do this forever, I think I'm on my way. I'm definitely building a foundation for something, and I'm hoping that it is for the longevity of my dance. So building something so that I can do this long term. So those were my goals. I feel very happy with how this project turned out. So it was a good idea. The next point that I wrote for myself in terms of the reflection was, how was the whole experience? Overall, it was a very positive experience. I'm very happy. There's nothing in me that has any regrets or that feels that I wasted my time on anything. The one thing was, the but in this is that it was very challenging to both stay focused on my practice parallel to documenting this whole process. And the documenting also wasn't just filming, collecting, boom, watch it, okay, cool. But it was the fact that I documented in order to upload it and share it to really make sure that I would be doing this consistently. But because I then started sharing it, I also started, it came into video editing. This also is a field that I'm still growing in. It takes a lot of time to do this all by yourself, the filming, the editing. Somewhere along the way, decided that I wanted to make it accessible also in other languages, because I have Spanish part of my roots. My parents are from Chile. So I wanted to make it accessible in Spanish. To translate and adding subtitles takes time. My ambition also stretches over to wanting to make these things accessible in Japanese, because a dream life goal is to speak Japanese fluently, and wanting to have that as a connection. So it became a bigger project than I had anticipated, thus making it hard to balance my practice and sharing it with the world. So this is something that definitely can be worked on. Even though I had set my initial goal to be passing top 24 Summer Dance Forever. Very clear goal, but at the same time very limiting, because it's just this competition, it's this competition with wanting to pass top 24. Of course, I knew already that in terms of my dance and my ambitions and what I can do, there's so much more than just battles. And I realized along the way that passing top 24, this summer dance goal, was actually just a stepping stone to an even greater goal, which is to unlock my fullest potential. That's something I realized, that it became so clear that I really want to become great in the way I dance. Within my time I want to become so good at being myself. Realizing that makes it also easier to digest the different outcomes that I've had. So, like I mentioned, I didn't pass top 24, which was disappointing in that moment, but there's like a side quest for people that play RPGs, like play video games. This reference makes sense, but it's passing Summer Dance is literally a side quest on my way to my main quest, which is to unlock my fullest potential. The next point I wrote down as a question for myself was, okay. This is one of those moments where you realize, dang it, I didn't turn on the mic, but now it is on. God, I need to learn this. So the next point I have on my list of reflections was, what were my achievements outside of the goals that I had set for myself? So the first thing that I wrote down, which is connected to my goals, was the fact that I got to have a consistent practice, and that I finally managed to create a practice for myself. The second thing was also tied to my goals, which was the setting daily movement habits, which then gave birth to the Leviathan Flow dance practice. Also mentioned that. The next thing that I put down was my self-esteem improved. So I became more confident in my dance and my abilities, but also more confident in myself because of this, to present not only like my process, but my thoughts, and to talk about something that I believe that we don't really talk about so much. Even though I don't have a dialogue live with you, but it's just the fact of sharing my thoughts and my process is something that I feel feels very personal, and to just be able to do this week in, week out, and be okay with it not being perfect, and be okay with that I'm learning how to share this, how to talk related to myself and the dance and practice. To have a good overview of my practice, becoming a bit clearer with setting goals, to be able to look at my practice and to look at my dance, and to also not only do it, but to register what it is that I'm doing and breaking things down. I feel like that's a helpful thing to do as we want to grow. It's like when you buy something from the store, it's just ready, it's just here to be used, but through this project, to take it apart and to like see how it's built up in order for you to understand what makes this work. That's something I want to continue diving into, and to really get to understand myself, the dance. Yeah. And then the greatest achievement, I think, of this project was that I completed this project. I set off to do something, and I did it. It was a hell of a commitment to do these weekly videos, and it was a challenge I took on, and I completed it. I also wrote down, so what are memorable moments from these months? There's probably a lot more, but the things that I just wrote down was the encounters I had with people that, again, had watched my videos. That was such a beautiful surprise that I did not expect or think of as I started this and I started to share. So any interaction with you has been amazing, has been so uplifting, so very memorable. Learning how to, work a YouTube channel, nothing that I actually thought I was ever gonna do or ever gonna start. So look at me now. Memorable moment was also when I could start to check off some of the goals I had set from the beginning of 2023. So of the list of goals that I have had set for myself, I could check off quite a few. Things that I had mentioned was Mayeko, to get that started. So that's my dance crew. Creating a performance, I did a solo. Completing this whole R35 to Infinity. And there are some things still on that list, and some are on their way to be checked off, but it's amazing, so rewarding. A memorable moment during this process is that I was able to get a logo made for me and my Leviathan. So thank you, Nora, for helping me out with making this a reality. So I have a logo. A memorable moment was also the time I was gonna participate at Summer Dance. What went from feeling pressure that I had put on myself in order to the build up, that pressure quickly disappeared the moment people came up to me and started to ask, are you ready? Do you feel ready? And just the concern or these questions was also gave me a feeling that they were there with me, that they were supporting me. Then suddenly I didn't feel that pressure anymore. And now that turned into excitement, and I was like, all right, let's go. That was that chapter. And then my next question was, and now what? R35 to Infinity is done. But what I've realized that this R35 to Infinity was just the beginning of something I want to call the Road to Infinity project. I don't want to stop. here. I feel like this gave me so much of a development, and that it made practice exciting for me. So I've decided to make this a 5-year plan in the pursuit of reaching my fullest potential. Not saying that it will end at the 5-year mark, but so this is me now announcing that I'm gonna continue doing Road 36 to infinity, followed by Road 37, 38, 39, 40. I'm giving myself a 5-year plan of doing this, diving in, documenting, and really looking to become the best version of myself, to really master myself. I'm excited. So I feel like I'm embarking on a journey to find that hidden treasure that is out there somewhere, that is the unlocked full potential of mine. And and I also want to continue developing this YouTube channel, or this platform that I'm starting in hopes to also encourage to motivate others to up their practice, for them to find their fullest potential. I would like for this to become like a community of people that are just interested in the art of practice, and everybody to be able to feel that they can set out on their own journeys, setting their goals, and that we together can elevate each other. That is something that I feel like that this could turn into. Again, I'm very grateful for every person that is tuning in and that have subscribed to my channel and are supporting me by following me. I want this to become a place where we just elevate each other. So I'm gonna start soon. I've already started my practice. I started immediately when I came back from Flavorama with that excitement from these events. I just wanted to jump into practice and to see, okay, what now? Where do I take it now? My journey has already started, but I wanted to start sharing that process from beginning of October, which is around the corner, and then I'll start Road 36. So join this journey by subscribing to this channel. Something that I've also am setting out to do is to start my own Patreon. At the moment, what it's gonna have is just a tier for you to support this project so that it can continue, and so I can continue developing it. And eventually I want the Patreon to grow with me sharing more things regarding dance and practice. If you feel like you want to support, just keep an eye out for that Patreon. And I feel excited to just dive deeper into this. I really feel passionate about the art of practice and to just unlock our fullest potential. We've reached the end of my reflection. If you stayed until the end, thank you very much for supporting me and for sticking around. I hope you choose to continue sticking around and share this with anybody you think might be interested in dance and in practice, because we're going to go on another year. So Road 36 to infinity is gonna start. This whole past chapter now has been so rewarding. It has been so rewarding, and again, I do not regret a single second of that project. I feel excited to start a new one. I hope that you'll wanna join me on this one. So stay tuned for Road 36. I've been working so much on like preparing myself for it. Maybe I'll show glimpses of some of that preparation. It's been a lot of fun, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of work for sure. But the task is gonna be to find that balance between the practice that I'm setting out to do and the documenting and the sharing. I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much, Road 35 to infinity, for everything you've given me. And thank you for watching. I hope you continue to enjoy your practice, and I'll definitely see you in the next video.